Since some time, the world attention has been focused on the changes in the climate. Today, this video presents information about the extremely important topic of weather, climate, and its change. What is called weather?
Weather is the condition of the atmosphere in a place over a short period of time. Weather is not constant. Its general nature is that the weather in one place varies from the weather in another place over time and space. When one place receives rain, wet weather conditions occur, and when another place receives excessive solar heat and temperature, dry weather conditions occur.
What are the main elements of weather?
Air temperature, precipitation, wind speed, wind direction, atmospheric humidity, air pressure, visibility, cloud cover are known as weather elements. As the weather condition of a place is based on these characteristics, they are called weather elements. The weather is determined by the behavior of these elements in a short period of time, such as an hour or a few hours or a day or a few days.
What is defined as climate?
The average of weather conditions prevailing in a country or region for a long period of at least 30 years is known as climate. Weather conditions here mean air temperature, precipitation, wind speed, wind direction, atmospheric humidity, air pressure, visibility, cloud cover, etc., which are considered as weather sources. Climate varies from place to place as well as from time to time. That is called climate variability.
Why is the climate important?
Climate affects almost every aspect of our lives. That means our food sources, transportation infrastructure, the clothes we wear, where we go on vacation, have a huge impact on our livelihoods, health, and future. Climatic conditions help to shape various ecosystems and habitats around the globe. A particular climate can be a blessing to one species and a devastation to another. Gradual shifts in climate are easier to adapt to than sudden shifts, and this is true for humans as well as other species.
What is climate change?
Climate change is a shift in the average climate over a long period of time. It is obviously an increase in the average temperature of the Earth, the ocean surface, and the atmosphere. Temperatures are rising faster over land. The temperatures over land surface have risen since the Industrial Revolution. The atmosphere and ocean have warmed, the amount of snow and ice have diminished, and sea levels have risen.
Is climate change real?
There is a broad consensus among the world's scientific community that climate change is certain to occur. In the United States, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, institutions like NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Organization, as well as IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, state that climate change is constant and human activities definitely affected.
What are the reasons for climate change?
Natural or physical causes as well as human activities affect climate change. Among them, the main reason for the climate changes that happened after the Industrial Revolution is the burning of petroleum and coal, which is done due to various human activities. This results in the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases are gases that absorb heat energy. The more greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, the more heat is trapped. Humans create greenhouse gases in many different ways. The biggest source is burning fossil fuels for electricity and heat. Agriculture, rearing animals, and growing crops also releases large amounts of greenhouse gases. And deforestation contributes because trees help to capture and remove greenhouse gases.
What are greenhouse gases?
Carbon dioxide is one of the most important greenhouse gases. Because there is a lot of it. And also it lasts a long time in the atmosphere. It's released by things like burning fossil fuels, cement production and deforestation. The atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has increased since the Industrial Revolution. Methane is another greenhouse gas. Methane absorbs more heat per molecule than other greenhouse gases, and is released from our agriculture and our landfills. Nitrous oxide in Perion, NO2O or simply NOx, is a byproduct of fertilizer production and use, other industrial processes and the combustion of certain materials. Sulfur hexafluoride or SF6 is used for specialized medical procedures, but primarily in what are called dielectric materials, especially dielectric liquids. These are used as insulators in high-voltage applications such as transformers and grid switching gear.
What evidence is there that climate change is occurring?
A number of evidences can be presented from different sources that the climate is changing on a global scale. Among them, the most compelling climate change evidence scientists have of climate change is long-term data relating atmospheric CO2 levels and global temperature, sea level, the expanse of ice, the fossil record and the distribution of species, the ever-increasing global temperature. The average surface temperature of the Earth has increased since the early 19th century. This increase is largely due to the increase in the amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere by human activities. Warmed oceans. Most of this increased heat was absorbed by the oceans. Compared to past years, the world's oceans are warmer today. Shrinking glacier. The ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica store about 2/3 of all the fresh water on Earth. They are losing ice due to the ongoing warming of Earth's surface and ocean. The mass of the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets has gradually decreased. According to NASA's Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment, Greenland lost an average of 286 billion tons of ice per year between 1993 and 2016. During that time, Antarctica lost 127 billion tons of ice per year. Sea level rise. The rate of sea level rise is accelerating. Sea level has risen 8-9 inches since 1880. In 2020, global sea level set a new record high, 91.3 millimeters above 1993 levels. Sea level has more than doubled from 0.06 inches per year throughout most of the 20th century to 0.14 inches per year from 2006-2015.
What are the natural processes that cause climate change?
In order to clearly understand climate change, the first thing to do is to correctly identify the causes of climate change. The Earth's climate undergoes changes due to the effects of volcanic eruptions, ocean currents, changes in the Earth's orbit, changes in solar radiation, tectonic plate movements, which are considered natural causes. Volcanic eruption. During a violent volcanic eruption, volcanoes release gases such as carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, as well as volcanic ash and dust into the atmosphere. A major effect of volcanoes on climate is to cool the atmosphere in the short term. Clouds of dust and ash released into the atmosphere during volcanic eruptions temporarily block solar radiation from reaching the ground. Usually these dust and ash particles are heavier and take about 3 months to fall to the ground. The resulting atmospheric cooling is considered to be a short-lived effect. Variations in solar radiation. The energy source for Earth's climate system is the Sun. Although the output of the Sun's energy appears to us to be constant every day, slight changes in it may occur in some seasons, which cause climate changes. The total irradiance of the Sun can vary by very small amounts. This variation in solar radiation is related to the number of sunspots. Sunspots are dark areas on the surface of the Sun. Sunspots appear as dark regions because their temperature is lower than the temperature of the surrounding areas. Approximately every 11 years the number of sunspots changes from a maximum number to a minimum number. During sunspot active phases, the Sun emits slightly more radiation. As sunspots trap heat, that heat spreads to surrounding areas and emits more radiation. Therefore, those areas appear brighter than normal. Thus, when there are more sunspots, it affects the global temperature to increase, and when there are less sunspots, it affects the global temperature to decrease or cool. Many years ago, there was a period of less solar activity between 1650 to 1850, known as the Little Ice Age. Earth orbital changes. The Earth makes one full orbit around the Sun each year. It is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees to the perpendicular plane of its orbital path. Changes in the tilt of the Earth can lead to small but climatically important changes in the strength of the seasons. More tilt means warmer summers and colder winters, less tilt means cooler summers and milder winters. Slow changes in the Earth's orbit lead to small but climatically important changes in the strength of the seasons over tens of thousands of years. Movement of tectonic plates. Tectonic plate movement occurs on geological time scales. At the same time, the continental plates also move to different positions and latitudes. These changes have affected the global circulation patterns of air and ocean water and the climate of the continents. One form of evidence of tectonic plates and how they affect climate is the location of coal mines. Although coal mines were created in equatorial regions millions of years ago, they are now found in high latitudes. What we do know is that the northern hemisphere has been warmer than the southern hemisphere since the Industrial Revolution. This is because there is more land in the northern hemisphere than in the southern hemisphere.